What is going on, everybody? The DCU is fully underway. We've had numerous projects drop from Creature Commandos to Superman, and now Peacemaker is rocking and rolling, and it's fantastic. There's other stuff on the horizon, but what else is there to look forward to? In recent interviews, James Gunn has spoken up about none other than Static himself, Static Shock. And it's not necessarily good news, but why is that? It doesn't make any sense to me. I'm going to unpack what James Gunn said and talk about why it's kind of outrageous, and definitely want to hear your take on this because this is a beloved character who's been around for over 30 years now. He's got a great fan base, so I think that there's no reason that we couldn't get a Static Shock sooner than later. It's been teased since 2020 at DC's Fandom event, so what's holding it back? Check the description for links to fantastic resources in this comic book hobby, including BTC, JustinComicx Cleaning and Pressing, and ABX Comics and Games. If you need to set up a pool list so you don't miss out on new comic books, all of it's down below. So let's get into it. Welcome to the channel. I'm Mark. This is the Legion of Comics, and today I'm talking about none other than DC Comics Static Shock. And it's not necessarily DC Comics. This is a little confusing and a little convoluted, but not bad. We're going to unpack it. If you don't know, you will in just a few moments. But first, let's look at the statement that James Gunn made in a recent interview that had me think to make this video at all. When asked about Static Shock, he said, "No updates on Static Shock. There's a whole bunch of complexities behind that character right now, so I don't have good news for you on Static Shock. Complexities, no good news, blah, blah, blah." I don't know. I don't agree. I don't agree, but let's try to, as always with this channel, look back a little bit so that we have some context to move forward. And first off, Static Shock isn't necessarily a DC Comics character. He was published under an imprint DC had called Milestone, and it was founded in 1993 by Dwayne McDuffie, Dennis Cowan, Michael Davis, Derek Dingle, and Christopher Priest. It was founded specifically by a group of African-American creators to bring more African-American comic book character representation. They had their own imprint. It was published by DC, but Milestone is its own comic book imprint. DC put them on shelves, but it existed in its own universe called the Dakotaverse, named after the town Dakota where all these stories took place. Static himself premiered issue #1, written by Dwayne McDuffie, illustrated by John Paul Leone. Virgil Hawkins, as a typical 15-year-old, has undergone a bizarre biochemical change, granting him electrical powers. It was the special juice that got on him that gave him these abilities. And it didn't stop there. He was actually a pretty big hit of a character. He even spun into his own television show. It ran for 4 seasons from 2000 to 2004. In pure cosmic goodness and DC fashion, it has a total of 52 episodes. That's like the sacred number for DC, right? Like 52. But that was super interesting. So Static has been relaunched, revisited, even though he exists in his own universe and he kind of has his own thing going on, its own group of characters. You got Hardware, Icon, and Rocket. You got a good flushed out universe over there, a big fan base. But over the years, with DC having its changes, like with the new 52 and stuff like that, there's been times when they've done crossovers with DC Comics characters. But for the most part, it has been its own thing, its own imprint. And that kind of brings us to James Gunn's more fleshed out comments on the situation. He stated it's all about integrating him with the DC universe because he's not a character that's traditionally part of the DC universe. It's kind of like the Authority. So like the Authority, been a little bit of a challenge simply because integrating them with the DCU has been a difficult thing to do. And the same thing is true of the Static Shock. Hopefully, we'll figure out a way to do that. To me, that sounds like a cop-out. You know, back when we were in the lockdown mode, DC did the whole online convention experience thing for a couple of years. They called it DC Fandom. They had the Milestone creators on there announcing this big revival of the Milestone universe. They followed through with it with the comic books. They launched a big part of them across the board. They were digital first, so people could really get access to them. Then they put them in print, and it was pretty successful. Then still rocking and rolling to a degree. But as far as the movies go, they said that it was an active development and we're seriously moving forward with it. But that was unfortunately under the Walter Hamada era. That's all been shifted and changed hands. You know, they had the merger with Discovery. Now they're at a point where they're doing well and they're going to disconnect from that merger. We're under the David Zaslav era. So having James Gunn talking about it is a good thing. The news is bad. but he's claiming that it's because he doesn't know how to integrate them. So people might have different feelings on this. So like I said, Milestone is its own separate universe for the most part. Brief times when they've crossed over, integrated, whatever. Well, with the DCU, the movie stuff, he's already announced that Elseworld will be a thing. For those that don't know, Elseworld are comic book stories told outside of the main continuity. You can compare it, I guess, to like the MCU has that Marvel Zombies universe. That show's going to be coming up soon. So that Marvel Zombies universe clearly isn't the same world that you watch all the movies on. It's an Elseworld. That's kind of what Elseworld is for DC. So he could easily make a static movie and put it under Elseworlds, just so you know it's a different thing. Now, me personally, I'm not a fan of that idea because I don't feel like it is an Elseworld. It's never had that imprint before, but it's something that's already built into what they're working on and working toward. I think there's a lot simpler solution to this, and if you are a longtime Milestone reader and fan, you might feel a little bit differently. I'm not like too invested in it by any means. I got my static and stuff. I got the comics. I haven't read all the new ones and everything. I was reading them when they first launched them on digital and stuff back in the lockdown era and everything, was enjoying them just fine. But I think they should just integrate them. In current DC Comics, right now, they are doing a brand new series. We're halfway through it called The New History of the DC Universe. This book has been done before. Kind of after they did the Crisis on Infinite Earths event back in the 80s, they did a history of the DC universe, kind of letting new readers and old readers understand the way that this universe is, its history, and where everything is presently. Because DC's been around for so long, it can get confusing because they do relaunches, mega events, universe-shattering moments. These become necessary once in a blue moon, and they're super fun. With this first issue, we go through the birth of the universe all the way up through the Golden Age, or up to just about up to World War II, pretty much. When we get to the 1800s in this, more specifically, page 18, this book right here, page 18, there's a panel right here and a description right there. That's Icon. That is Icon from the Milestone universe integrated into the current DC universe smoothly. Like, that character has a really cool history. Very similar to Superman. He fell to Earth from space, landed on a plantation, was picked up, saved, and he stayed low-key for a long time. He didn't reveal himself, but they even say it in there. They tell you right there, his little backstory of him landing, that's little baby Icon. So as of right now, the Milestone characters have been seamlessly integrated into DC Universe. There's no reason Dakota cannot just be another town in another place that's not close to Metropolis or Gotham, Central City. It doesn't have to be directly neighbors with somebody else. Their heroes, their characters can primarily be focused in their own town, just like in the Marvel stuff. 99% of all their characters are just in New York. In DC, Superman, for the most part, stays in Metropolis, Batman in Gotham, and same for numerous characters. But it gives them the ability to cross over and interact when you want to, or do stuff for the fans. It's not necessary, though. By just make a static movie, make it in Dakota. And if you want to have like someone just mention the word Superman or Batman, just so people know it's DCU. Very similar to the Blue Beetle movie that we just got 2 years ago. That movie stood on its own, in its own town, in its own place. It was completely separated from everything else. They mentioned other superheroes. They didn't have to. It wouldn't have changed the movie at all. But it's that simple. You can make a static movie. You can bring this character in. He's been around for over 30 years. People love this character. And with popular young African-American characters like Miles Morales, DC, this is a chance to have another counterpart to that. And this one, Virgil has a built-in audience already. You're not starting from ground zero. This is a huge opportunity for the DCU. I hope they don't drop the ball on this. They really need to make this happen. But if you're a static fan, or if you know who this character is, if you've been a fan for a long time or a new fan, let me know your thoughts down below. What do you think about the idea of just integrating them into the DCU so that there's not this hang up with trying to figure out how to do that? They've already done it in the current comics. They've done it in the past before. They've re-separated them before. I don't personally know what like Dennis Cohen, how he feels about it. He's like the creative mastermind who's running the Milestone stuff right now. I'm not sure his thoughts on that. If you know him, I'd be interested to know him. Let me know in the comment section. But I appreciate you watching. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe, all the stuff that I'm supposed to tell you to do or ask you to do. Please do those things. It helps push the video. It helps the channel. I appreciate you. And until next time, as always, I'm Mark, but we are Legion.